Welcome back. You're still watching The Morning Breeze on NBS Television in the topical discussion. While we continue to dwell on Tarehe Sita and the relevance of this day, there is a story that we cannot put under the carpet. We cannot sweep under the carpet.
We can't put it to rest.
Well, the country is still mourning and celebrating the life of radio, Mowzey Radio. But apparently, there are lots of unconnected dots and unanswered questions. This morning, before we delve into the main theme of the day, the crux of the topical discussion, we want to revisit this. There is someone with a very interesting account. Perhaps it could end the kind of speculation, or it could help us to have a few clues. Well, Samson Kasumba joins us from Bugolobi, where he will be speaking to one of the witnesses who has something to tell the world. Good morning, Samson.
Good morning, Simon, and good morning, Mildred, at the Political Command Center in Bugolobi, as you rightly put it, and we are asking the questions. Isn't it our job as journalists to ask those questions? And as you did say, a very interesting puzzle in all this. Washington is here to talk to us, and let me just try to turn to him to get basically an understanding of all these. A very good morning, Washington. What do you know of what took place?
I actually know the truth of what took place. I would like to first send out my condolences to the late's family, the people he used to work with, and the whole of Uganda and the whole of Africa and the whole world, because he was a great legend.
Okay. So, where are you in Entebbe?
I would like to start, it was on the 23rd of January when this darkness set upon us. I left home and went to Neverland. That is where they built their house in Machinde. I normally go there every day to, like, you know, carry throughout some productions for my boys. But this day I found radio, and he wanted to go to Entebbe because he's constructing one of his great houses there. And he told me, would you please give me a lift? Just escort me as we talk about life. I have some little money, I need to go pay the hardware shops. I said, it's okay, I have no problem. So we got into the car at around 3 p.m. in the afternoon. I met him with Weasel and one of Weasel's brothers who is from Sweden. They were, you know, talking. So we left them and we said bye. And we drove to Entebbe. Along the way, we talked about life. He was preaching about...
You and radio?
Yes, me and radio.
2 in the car?
No, we were 3. There's one other friend of mine, he's called Shine.
Okay.
And he's my very good friend. And radio.
He's also in the country?
Yeah, he's around in the country. On the way we were talking about life, we were saying we need to love each other. We need to work together this year. We should stop being divided and all that stuff. I was so shocked this coming out of radio, because radio, I don't really like know him for like, he's always rebuking. He's always, if you do something wrong, he's always telling you that you've done something wrong. But this day, it was so funny that he was preaching, he was even talking about the Bible. You know, he was talking about things that I never expected him to talk about.
Okay.
So we reached Entebbe. We pay to the hardware shop. There's some hardware shop in Nkumba there. Then we drive towards the site.
Okay. Where's the site?
The site is I don't really, but I think it's around Canaan sites, Canaan Estate. It's near, just by the lake, but not on this side of Anderita, on the other side.
So you get to the site, he pays. Then after the site, where do you go next?
On the site, he gets a phone call. He gets a phone call from one lady called Pamela.
Okay, yeah, that Pamela name.
Yes, who he claims...
Who is Pamela?
I really had not met her at all, but he claimed that she's an officer. She's in one of the security organs.
Okay, and UPDF, police?
I'm not so sure.
Okay.
But he claimed she helps him like protect the site, or in case he has problems in the site, people steal sand and all that stuff, she would help him.
Pamela would help?
Yes, Pamela would help. So she calls him, and we go to a place called Diba. It's in, I think, in the trading centers of Entebbe.
Okay.
On the way, I told him, you know what? I hope we're not going to spend a lot of time in this, because me, I don't drink, I don't like things of bars, those things of going to bars. And I always like going to a place when I'm invited by the owner, and I know the security and all that. So we go. I respect his wishes, and we go there. I told him, please, we stay here only for 5 minutes.
Okay.
Then he told me, you know, it will be a bit disrespectful. These are my people. They're always there for me sometimes. I'm like, okay. We walk into the bar.
About what time was this?
It was around 5:30.
Okay.
5:30, coming to 6 there. We walk into the bar, everybody's happy to see us. Pamela welcomes us.
Okay.
And Pamela had a group.
You found Pamela at the bar?
Yes,
okay.
We found her. Remember, she's the one who called us there.
Okay.
So we find out with a group of her friends. I don't know them. It was also my first time to meet Pamela. Radio introduced me to her. So they sit in their group on the side. For me, I sit on the side with my...
Who is they?
Radio. I think the owner of the bar, Pamela. Then there's one guy called Hassan. I think he's the manager.
Person you had in the car at this point?
I'm seated with him on the
so
side.
you two sit on one side.
We sit on the side because we don't.
The other group
yes,
goes,
we don't mix with the people who drink and all that stuff.
Fast forward.
So we sit on the side. We drink water, and I start having a bad feeling about everything. So I try to confront Radio and tell him, you know what, we need to go back to Kampala because it's getting late and I don't like driving at night. He insisted, please, let's wait longer. You know, these are my friends. They can even bless us with something and stuff like that.
What time is this now?
That's around 7:30 there. So he insists and he stays. So they start drinking, having merry, chatting, laughing together. I walk out to the car. I walk out and stay in the car. And because I was not feeling well already, I have a headache, I want to go.
So you leave and you leave?
I leave my friend there. I leave my friend there. So I noticed, I went and rested like for 10 minutes. So I came out again. I found Pamela coming out. I asked her, I need to go back to Kampala. Can you please tell your friend who you invited here that we need to go? He was like, no, he's about to finish his drinks and then we go. So me, I walk inside and insist. I tell Radio, we need to go. Radio tells me, Washington, just relax, be patient. There's even a lot of traffic and all. I told him, no, it's okay, we can go in the traffic. He refused. So I told my friend, you know, let's go to the car. Maybe he will see us going and he'll get the urge of coming and go to Kampala. Now in the car, we sat again for around 10 minutes. And then I see Pamela also coming out again because we parked just next to the bar. Pamela comes out, I see her, I come out of the car. I tell her, Pamela, what are you doing?
This is the second time?
This is the second time.
She comes out?
Yes. I tell her, what are you doing? I told her, I need to go. If Radio doesn't want to come, I'm going to leave him. He's a grown man, he can get a vehicle or whatever to come back home. Or you can bring him since you're the one invited him. I was a bit tough to her. And then she said, no, don't worry. He's about to get done. And we go. So me, I insist. I walk inside into the club. And I found they have shifted from inside the club to outside the club. Okay. There's a sort of a corridor outside the club. Okay. So they had a high table.
How many people are outside the club at that point? Radio and the entire group that was
And the entire group, I can see there was Radio. There was the manager, I think the owner, I don't really know, who was seated adjacent to him. There was Troy, the guy who lifted...
About how many people?
About 5 people.
5 people.
About 5
Are they sober at this point from your recollection?
No one was sober. No one was sober.
How could you tell they were not sober?
That's because of, when you
Are you talking about people staggering?
Not staggering. The tone of their voice was on another level. Okay. You can know when somebody, and they were laughing, they were excited, talking things. But I noticed they were over laughing. And Radio was not happy about that. So I knocked him a bit. I told him, you know what? We need to go. I was like, be patient. Wait for another 5 minutes. Okay. Unfortunately, that time, it was already destined. God had already planned what he wanted to do. Okay. So I sat with him for about 5 minutes. And then he starts pouring, they bring a bottle of whiskey. I think it was Red Label or Black Label. I remember the bottle, it looks like one of those drinks. He gets the bottle, but it comes half. And I saw him giving some money. So in my head, I was like, why is he buying this when he knows I want to go back? But I kept my cool. So he gets the whiskey and starts pouring on the different glasses that are there, you know. And then after that, he got very angry. I think they said something agitating to him. I don't really know, because they're speaking Luganda and all that stuff. He gets really agitated, and he like pours beer around. You get it?
Beer or whiskey?
I mean whiskey. He pours whiskey around, and then he puts the
around where?
He pours around the people who are there, especially the manager who was in front.
So he poured whiskey on persons?
Yes, no, on especially one person.
Okay.
That I know, the manager. I think the one who was abusing him or talking something ill about him. Then he puts the bottle down. But with me, you know, they did not react. They all kept laughing, you know, they were as if they were enjoying, because there was music playing and all that stuff. So we sat for about 3 to 4 minutes. There was no reaction. But me, I noticed the manager wasn't happy. The owner of the bar, I think he's the owner of the bar, he wasn't happy. So I told radio, what have you done? What's going on? He says, they know what they have done. But it's okay, it will be fine. You know, so I kept my cool. I said, okay, it's fine. Because no one was reacting, nothing. After about 5 minutes, this owner of the bar gets very angry.
Is he part of the original persons that you had said were all happy and drunk?
Yes, he's part of them.
So we're talking about persons under the influence of alcohol.
Remember, I think he was the ones buying the drinks. That's what I think in my mind. Okay, because he's the owner of the place, he has all this money. Of course, he'd be the one buying the drinks. So he gets very angry, and he throws the whole table away.
Okay.
So the bottles go splashing, everything goes splashing, and people scatter. So he comes for radio, because they were seated at just, he throws the table and comes towards radio. Okay. Fortunately, they were separated. There was no physical contact.
Separated by who?
There's this tall guy, Troy, and Hassan, who held the owner of the place, and I shouted, take him into the club. Then I told Pamela, let's go.
Okay.
Let's go. Some people think I was just seated there. I'm not a fool. I was not just seated there. You know, so Pamela held...
You want Pamela to go. Why don't you pick radio out, since he's the guy you were interested in for about 45 minutes now?
When I told Pamela to pick radio out, because there was the whole place scattered. Everybody moved. I moved on my side, this side. There were bottles all over the place. Radio moved that side. So I could see radio with Pamela. So I told Pamela and radio, let's go. Let's go out. Let's go to the car. So the owner was taken properly into the club, and radio and Pamela, we all started walking out properly. On the way out, when we were almost reaching towards the door to enter into the car, towards the door of the club.
Towards the door, because you had talked about this incident being in the corridor.
Yes.
Now, which there's a door at that corridor.
There's a door. There's a sort of a corridor that enters the club.
Okay.
Then there's another corridor.
So you're about to get to that corridor. Then what happened?
We're about to get out of the corridor. Then there's this one tall guy who comes from behind shouting, "Ah, you have disrespected the owner of the bar. How can you embarrass him in his own bar? You know, radio, you're not all abusive words." So he snatches radio from Pamela by force. It was very fast, you know, lifted him up and threw him down. You know, by the time he was lifting up and throwing, I was already shouting and like, "Stop fighting, stop fighting." They threw radio down, and I heard him hit his head. So when I shouted, "You have hit his head," this Troy, he decided to run away, and everybody scattered. The only people who stayed there were Pamela and a man called Hassan. So by that time, my friend had the scuffle, who was in the car. Remember, I left him in the car. So he came out, he asked me, "What is the problem?" I told him, "You catch that guy who is running. He has beaten Mowzey, he has thrown Mowzey down." You get it? So he tried to chase after him, but he ran and disappeared there, so we failed to get him. So my instincts were to first pick up Mowzey. I checked him, I noticed his eyes had gone into coma, like they were not moving, because I really had the head crack. So I was trying to tell these people that radio, is not okay. We need to take him to the hospital. I checked his stomach, and because normally you check the stomach and see if he's still breathing. I saw he's still breathing. You get it? So we lifted him up with the guy called Hassan. We put him in my car and Pamela. I told Pamela, get in the car because you're the one who brought us here. She got in the car and we drove to a hospital called Emmanuel Hospital. It's in Entebbe. It's just near where we were. It was the nearest hospital because we wanted first aid as soon as possible. Some people think we drove to Kampala straight. So we reached Entebbe Emmanuel Hospital, and there was a bit of delay. You know, the doctors don't react very fast, and this is a very bad thing in Uganda. They took their time, and but they finally came. So we put him into a room, and they put drips on him and all that stuff. But I told the doctor I had him knock the head. So I think he has the problem with the head. We need to do a scan and find out what is the problem. You get it? But they were like, no, I think he's just drunk. He needs to get whatever. He must have blacked out. I told him, people who black out don't have eyes like that. There's a problem with the eyes. So the doctor realized, other doctors came in and they realized the problem.
You said you don't drink and
yes.
You don't spend time in the bar, but you
yes.
understand quite a bit about people who drink and those who black out. I find
yes.
that interesting.
Yeah, because I normally hang around people who drink. You get it? I hang around people who drink. And people don't only drink in the bar. They can drink in their houses.
Okay, so you tell the doctor, people who...
So I tell the doctor that he's not blacked out. He's gone into coma. His brain is dead. You can see it. So he writes a referral letter and says he can't handle this. I told him, please give me an ambulance. Let me go to Kampala. I asked him, is there any other hospital that can do this scan in Entebbe? He said no. He referred me to Nsambia. So we drove, it took us 15 minutes. From Entebbe Emmanuel Hospital to Nsambia Hospital, because I timed.
That was really fast.
Yes, we came in an ambulance. Okay. You understand? And I am the one who came with him in the ambulance. It was me, the nurse, and the driver. You get it? Because I could not allow Radio to come alone in the ambulance.
So you left your vehicle with the other
I left
friend?
my vehicle with my other friend. He came later.
So you got to Nsambia?
We get to Nsambia, there was a bit of a delay also, about 5 minutes. You know, procedures and all that stuff. Until I started making noise, that's when the doctors realized that this was serious. So they pull him out of the ambulance, take him into the hospital. They try to check on him and, you know, put things in him, tubes. I don't understand those things. But I still tell the doctor, he what? He hit his head.
I've read somewhere somebody saying that Nsambia claims that its ICU was full. Did you hear that?
Yes, the doctor told me the ICU was full and they could not take care of him there. We need to refer him to another hospital. So the immediate hospital at that time which was available and was functional was Case Hospital.
No one thought about the National Referral Hospital?
No. No one thought about that.
Okay, so you take
I remember one specific doctor. She was a lady. She has something in her eyes. I'm not really sure. She is the one who referred him to Case Hospital.
Okay, so you take him to Case Hospital.
Her personal also got into the ambulance. Okay. They got us another ambulance from Zambia. We drive to Case Hospital, and of course they take him into for a scan. They found out what I was talking about was the truth.
That story is known, but you have been a producer for radio, from what I hear.
Yeah.
Did you attend the burial?
Yes. It's so unfortunate. People thought I was not there. I was very there. I was at the burial. There was a lot of fracas. This was the most annoying burial I've ever attended on earth. There were thieves. People were being beaten up. Well, there was no organization at all. But I was there. I was there with about a crew of about 15 people who were protecting me. Because me, I was worried about my life. People already starting to talk stories. So I was very worried about my life, and I was instructed to keep myself safe because I'm the #1 witness of this case. Okay. You know, I was instructed you have to keep yourself safe and you have to keep out of people. Don't put yourself into the public. Until I saw people bashing me in the social media.
Were you also in Ruaga Cathedral for the Mass?
Yes, I was there.
Are you worried about your life?
I'm not so sure about it. I'm a bit, you know, skeptical because I don't trust people. If this can happen to my brother, anything can happen to anyone.
Are you more worried about the persons in society or other musicians who think that you may have been involved in
No,
the
I'm not
foreplay?
worried about any musicians because musicians know the truth. You understand? They know the truth. We're in the same organization and we're in the same groups. They know the truth. You get it? I'm not worried about any musician. I'm just worried about any grievance person who can maybe come out, who does not know the truth. Because, you know, when social media starts talking things, they start putting pictures of Washington and Troy, and they put killers. I mean, I have a family, I have children, I have a wife. You do not do such things. You put me in danger. You know, I stay with the society. You get it? Someone will come out from nowhere and think that I actually am part of it. It is very evil to start accusing somebody of something that you don't know. That's why many people end up into trouble. So I contacted my uncle. My uncle actually contacted me, Mr. Captain Mike Mukula. And he told me, you know what? You need to come out and talk the truth, but in a professional way. You know, I don't blame the people on social media. I know they are hurting so much and they wanted to know the truth. That's why I've come out to talk the truth, to let them know exactly.
Have you thought about, Washington, have you thought about going to the Uganda Police Force to give an account, your account? And if you're to help them, how do you think you can help them? Because their investigation is going on.
The first thing I did when this incident happened was to call the police in Entebbe. Okay? So when we went to the hospital, Emmanuel Hospital, the police already arrived. Okay? They saw the deceased. I explained to them exactly what happened. Pamela also explained to them. Even Hassan explained to them. And they went back to the club that very night and arrested the owner and some managers and put them in. The next day, I went back to Entebbe and wrote my statement with my friend and Pamela. So all those procedures had already done them, and there were already investigations going on. So I had to respect the wishes of the police to let them do their investigation, not to start going speculating things and talking things and opening my mouth. That's why I was very quiet and calm.
Looking back at all this in hindsight as we wind this down,
yes,
how could this unfortunate incident have been avoided, or was it unavoidable?
The first thing that the government needs to do is all bars should not allow any artist to come to their bar unless the owners invited them and paid them and provided them and provides them with security. Okay? Because it's so unfortunate. It's not even, Mowzey did not even fight. There was no fight at all. If there was a fight, we would get involved in the fight. But there was no fight at all. This man just came from behind and grabbed him from this one Pamela and lifted him and threw him down. You understand?
But you talked about the pouring of liquor around. Wasn't that also avoidable?
That's what I'm saying. These artists, they really need to move. Like you do not go, if somebody calls you and needs to see you, unless it is very, really urgent, they can come to you. You know, the artists don't know the value they have. They don't know the weight they have. They don't know that they're ambassadors of the country. They don't really know. And I don't blame them because of a lot of social media they try to put down these artists. You can discipline artists, but don't put them down. And then Radio was a very social person. He never took himself as a star or all those things. He took himself as a day-to-day person, a teacher, a friend, a brother to every person. So it's so unfortunate that his own friends led him to this. Not even any artist, not even any rival, or not any woman or whatever.
Have you spoken to Pamela since?
Yes, we have been talking to Pamela because we have been meeting in Entebbe in the police station, trying to follow up this investigation. You know? And I hope they have got this guy because it is so embarrassing. When I was at the barrier, I was really deep in sorrow. I'm like, how are we burying my brother when we have not got the person who did this?
Is this the same picture of the person that has been circulating around social media?
That is the very person. He's called Troy. He's tall. He has beards on his brown, and he's a bit muscular.
So you know the individual?
Yeah, I cannot forget his face. I can't forget that man who did that to my brother. I can't forget him. I can never forget his face.
Have you been quizzed by police since?
No, not ever since I did my statement. They asked me a lot of questions and I wrote down my statement with the CIDs and all those people. And that is it.
How long have you been producing music?
I've been doing this thing for about quite some time, about 20 years.
What makes radio such a unique talent? I mean, you've worked with a number of talents, but what makes this young man such a unique talent?
Radio is, I met him 10 years ago. I've been working with him for 10 years so far now. And he's first of all versatile. And he's a very educated man. He's very educated man.
Studied community psychology.
And his lyrical content can pierce your heart. You can hear all the songs he has done. Ngenda Maso, Plenty, Plenty, Dudu, Sweeter Than Cuckoo, Where You Are. All those songs, like, he's a man who had a passion for love. Like, he would bring out love, not in a sexual way, not in a dirty way, but in an emotional way. You know, that's one thing I admired about him. I would sit down in studio with him and do a track, and I would tell him to sing about a talk. I'd tell him, sing about the eyes. And he'd start writing. I'd tell him, sing about the ears. You start writing about the, I'd tell him, sing about the heart. There are sometimes I would ask him, oh, what is the problem? What hassle did you go through today? I was like, I haven't been paid. I told him, okay, sing about customers. You know? All those things. He was a very, very, if you go to know radio, he was, everybody has their two sides. Okay? There's the negative and the positive side.
I'll take you back to that incident, but let me ask this question. I mean, of all his songs, which one of them stood out for you?
Of all his songs, there's a song that is called Ngenda Maso.
Okay.
That song, it touches everybody. Everybody goes through that experience. Right now I'm going through that experience, you know. And if you listen to the lyrics of that song, everybody goes through it at one point in his life. Me personally, I'm going through what he sang, okay? But of course, as he said, Ngenda Maso, I'll be strong and be strong for him so that I can support his family in a certain way, you know. So Ngenda Maso, that is the song for me that he ever, him and Radio and him and Weasel, that's their best song they've ever done.
Do you see any gaps in the investigations that are going on?
No.
Given what you know?
What I know, they have all the information. The police has to arrest, Captain has been telling me that I think they have arrested the gentleman. I want to see it for my own eyes. Then I'll believe that they have arrested him. And I believe they will come down. This time there will be justice. This time justice will be served. Not like the previous whatever. This time the justice has to be served.
But there's also some who believe that artists move around with impunity. They feel they're above the law. Do you think this particular incident is going to bring, I mean, both the public and artists to sit around and check their own actions?
You know, the problem with artists in Uganda, they don't have a proper organization, an organ that is organized, whereby there are protocols that you follow. Because, you know, artists, they take this job for granted. It's not a show-off job. It's not you are preaching to people. Your mouth, the things that you sing are preaching to people. So you need to be very careful what you do. They need to have a proper manager. They need to have a security team. They need to have a PR team. They need to have a promotional team. And all these people have to be paid properly. The problem we have managers who are brokers. You get it? They only mind that their artists perform in a show. But there are other things that go with this.
But again, yes, you may talk about managers and all, but under the circumstances, if somebody like you who understands the man very well, you've produced him very well, I mean, you left him in the bar. I can understand you were in a hurry to go. Do you think that at that point, if he had a manager, could the manager have forced him out? Because again, he's the boss of the manager. I mean, what would have,
you know,
that
is the wrong thing here in Uganda. There's nothing like you're the boss of the manager. If you don't allow the manager to do his work, you're going to get into trouble. You're going to get into a lot of problems. Okay? If you reach a point whereby the managers fear you, The people around you working, you fear you. You're going to get into a lot of problems. You need to give those people the respect. If they tell you to do something, please do it. If they tell you don't go to this place, don't go to this place, don't drink this, please listen to them.
So are you saying, from your understanding, that he was in harm's way, unprotected, and drank?
As what I know, Radio said he was in the company of his friends. As I told you, these were respectable people. These were grown-up people. These were not youth, bayai or what.
Friends who could not protect him when trouble came out?
You get it? That's why I'm saying there are some people saying, hey, why didn't Washington do anything? I mean, come on, I did what I could do. Why didn't they also do anything? Why didn't they not give all that alcohol to him? You know? Why did they give, why didn't Pamela go and get him out? As I asked her to, because he's the one who called her. You get it? And I respected him because he said this is a woman who helps him. You know, this was his social life. It had nothing to do with music or performance. This was his social life and I respected it.
Do you think Pamela did enough to protect a man she brought to the bar?
No. Because she knows I asked her 4 times to get him out of the bar. And she knows I asked him. You know, I told Pamela, I want to go now. Please go and get Radio since you're the one who brought him. Because I've told him to come about 3 times. He's telling me, wait, 10 minutes, 5 minutes. Okay.
There are conspiracy theories that this could have been planned.
No,
Do you think it was just people drunk who had a brawl in the bar?
There's nothing that was planned. Radio has been going there, here he has been going there, all the time he's in Entebbe. That's what she says. Okay?
So it's just a fight of people drunk?
There was not even a fight, my brother. I want us to get this out. There was just a confrontation. Verbal, I think there was not even verbal artillery. Just actions. And it was separated and cooled. The owner of the bar did not physically fight with Radio. It is just this one Troy who came from after taking the owner of the bar. I don't know what transpired when they took there. He came and was, you know, how could you disrespect the owner of the bar? Eh? How could you do this and stuff? You've embarrassed him and, you know, like that. Then all that scuffle came like that. So I think it was just anger, a lot of, you know, they were also drunk and stuff. There were influence of alcohol and all that stuff, you know. But it was nothing that it was planned. They planned to do this. Come on, guys.
Is there anybody who can collaborate the information you're giving here? Or do you have an account that, in a sense, you only have and nobody else does?
In the police station, we have about four statements, 4 witnesses. And all our statements rhyme. Because I was not the only one there. There were many people there. You get it? At least the ones I know, Pamela, Hassan, Troy, that manager of the place. There was my friend Shine. He wasn't really there because he was in the car. He came out after the scuffle had already happened.
Very interesting. Have you seen the picture of the person that they claim? I need to ask this again. The person claimed to have beaten Weasel into coma. Have you seen that picture?
No, Radio. I mean,
sorry, Radio.
Lifted Radio up and threw him down.
I'm sorry. Have you seen that picture?
I've seen the picture.
It's the face of the person.
That is the person. That is Troy. He's the one. I cannot forget his face. I cannot forget his face. I can't forget his face.
It's quite interesting, these. And maybe my last question is,
Yes,
this happened some time back. I think it happened on the 23rd.
Yeah, on the 23rd of...
And you've never found... I think that's the face of the guy there. Is that the guy?
No. It was Stan.
Let's have that picture back again. I'll ask my producer to give us that picture back again so that you have another look at it. That's the picture. Is that the person?
I don't see that picture properly.
You don't see the picture properly?
Yes, but I have the picture here. Maybe they're having the wrong...
Let's just collaborate that picture and be sure that it is the picture of the person we're talking about.
Let's see.
So let me just go back to that incident as we look for a closer shot of that picture.
Yeah.
You said he falls down, you hear his head cracking.
When Troy lifted him up and threw him down, okay, I had a crack, you know, and I told people, you've thrown radio down and you've hit his head, it has cracked, you know, because he blacked out. Like when he fell down, he blacked out immediately. So I ran towards him. I tried to check him, and I saw
this is in the corridor, right?
Yes, in the corridor, coming out of the club. Not where they were seated. Yes.
How wide is the corridor?
The corridor is like from here to there.
Okay, so
it's not so wide.
It's just a corridor.
Yeah.
Very troubling incidents. These. I was asking the question that the events happen on the 23rd, and from the 23rd until the man dies, there's no time for you to go into the media to relate this account, in a sense. Or could that be because you didn't think it would turn out fatal?
At that time, I was not thinking about anybody else. I was thinking about saving my brother, okay? And I managed to get him to the hospital when he was still alive, okay? And he lived at least 4 days or 3 days on this earth, okay? Because I wanted him to live.
All right, we are still getting the witness account of producer Washington, who that particular fateful day on the 23rd of January was with the late Moses Sechivogo, who is to many known as Mowzey Radio, who was finally laid to rest on Saturday at Kaga, and that is off Entebbe Road. Still giving a witness account, there have been a lot of speculation with rumors flying around that Radio Mowzey was carried from the bar already actually dead and just taken later on to Case Hospital. But in the witness account of producer Washington, he says he had severally asked that Mowzey Radio leaves the bar because there was a lot of work to be doing there, but these did not receive any particular attention. He continuously says there was no physical fight between the DBA's manager and Mowzey Radio, but some gentlemen from the back just decided and came and exchanged words with Mowzey, saying he had disrespected, because in his account it says earlier on Mowzey Radio had bought a whiskey and poured it at the manager because simply of what was being said. He doesn't necessarily speak out the words that were being said, but he says Mowzey Radio was infuriated by what was being said that prompted him to pour liquor or pour whiskey at the manager, and later on the manager reacted by throwing out the table, but they were separated later on. He also says that he had Mowzey Radio's head crack as he was thrown down on the ground. The first thing he took was testing from the diaphragm, or what many call the belly, and found out that actually Radio was still breathing. He drove to Emmanuel Hospital that is nearby in Entebbe. They couldn't manage the situation. They referred them to Nsambia Hospital in an ambulance. He also says Nsambia Hospital ICU unit was still very clogged up. No thought of the National Referral Hospital. They decided to take him to Case Clinic.
Well, here is a story. Here is an account that again arouses more speculation.
Yes.
And quite unfortunately. And there are so many unanswered questions still, lingering questions. And I'm afraid we are likely to see a situation where every account is going to fuel more speculation. Every account, because everyone comes up as an authority. And when I pick from Washington as an eyewitness, someone who witnessed the scene,
yes,
who was at the scene when this gruesome event happened, I asked myself, police rushed to Emmanuel Clinic. Did the police ever cordon off the bar? Was it ever cordoned off? Now, where is this lady who is
Pamela.
in the picture? Pamela.
Yes.
Where is Pamela? How come up to now Pamela has not been arrested?
Washington says Pamela has recorded a statement at police.
Is that all?
In one of his statements.
I find that casual.
I am wondering whether police
I find
is
that
still
really casual.
I am wondering whether police has taken this further because he asserts it is Pamela who invited Radio to the bar.
So
and
Pamela
earlier on, he also says that Radio was going to pay up some workers or something like that in Entebbe, some construction workers in Entebbe. So there is a lot of probing that needs to be done by police itself.
What kind of examination was done by Emmanuel Hospital?
And what were the results?
What were the results?
Because it says it took longer for the doctors to attend. Secondly, when they did attend, it says the doctors were only saying, oh, he's only drunk and he probably has blacked out. He says he pressed on and said, I had his skull crack as he fell on the ground. So you need to do a test on the skull.
Where was the nearest hospital? You cannot tell me that in Zambia.
Well, I think many of us in the media fraternity, the first, probably what has not been done, because we've been paying attention to the sickness and the death, is doing a map study of the area. Where is the bar that has been closed down? And what is the nearest? What is the nearest clinic or what? Entebbe Grade B.
There is Entebbe Grade B, there is Entebbe Grade A. At least Grade A is better than Grade B. So let's assume Emmanuel Clinic recommended. Do they call it recommending? Okay. Referred him to Zambia Hospital. And in Zambia chased him.
No, Zambia didn't chase him. They didn't have the space for a critical patient as such. More questions, but the police has
I think the police has a lot to answer.
Yes.
The police has a lot to answer.
Audacity to carry out.
Well, we are still corroborating the accounts that are being brought on board. So many people are coming out to speak. We've had the tale of Pamela. Egesa has been arrested, the owner of the bar.
Yes.
And what we also gather is that the key suspect in the murder of Radio has also been arrested. That is Troy Wamala.
Yes.
Troy, the Wamala guy. But again, when you reconstruct the scene, if this brawl happened in the corridor, you'd imagine Radio had his ribs cracked.
In the tale of Washington, he was carried and dropped.
You pick someone in the corridor. How big is the corridor?
Well, he says it was small.
In a small corridor, you pick someone and then you lift him and let him on the ground.
On the ground.
On the floor. Was there blood?
Police needs to be asking this.
Okay. Was there blood?
I wasn't at the scene of crime, so I cannot be able to tell whether there was blood or not.
Why did police rush to Emmanuel instead of first cordoning off the scene of crime?
Well, they needed to. I am not answering any question for police, but I am thinking out loud.
No. These are fundamental questions that police also needs to give us.
Assess the fact that there had been someone injured and then later on move on. But like I've said, I think police has more work to do now because it has key witnesses.
The bar has never been cordoned off as a crime scene. All that has come,
it's under lock and key.
It was closed arbitrarily by
and
a certain Lutaya.
And after someone dies.
A certain Lutaya went out of his way, I'm told he's an assistant town clerk, and closed the bar with some bit of impunity.
Just as the bar where, was it AK-47? What was it called? Deport or something?
Yes. The reaction of police alone also raises a lot of questions.
That bar, I can tell you clearly, that bar will be reopened at some time, not in the names of the bar, but tagged or dubbed with another name. We've seen so many of these happening.
Well, as more speculations arise surrounding the death of Mowzey Radio, all we can do is really to bereave with the family, to condole with the family, and also mark certain areas. There are certain no-go areas because the family is still traumatized by the death of Mowzey Radio. We'll still pick more accounts, and NBS Television will keep you up to speed with events as they unfold. Good morning.